All right, I think we're good to kick it off. This is being recorded anyway, so we'll post it on YouTube after. So hi everybody, welcome to Nostra Spaces. I think this is the fourth Spaces that we've hosted. So we're on the momentum train, and today we're got a special guest, Motty from Braavos. Hey Motty.
Hey, pleasure to be here.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us. And also on the stage we have Đorđe, our CTO. Want to say hello?
Hey.
GM everybody, and nice to have you, Motty, here with us today.
GM.
Same here, Georgia.
Cool. All right. So the title of this space is, I think, it says a deeper dive into Cairo and StarkNet. I mean, but before we kind of do all that, let's kind of get a bit of a background on Braavos and what Braavos is, if you don't mind, Motty.
Sure. So, I always used to say that we are a team. The team that founded Braavos is a team that is kind of latecomer to crypto. We weren't here in 2015. We weren't here in 2017 in the ICO mania, not even in 2019. So we are only, let's say, a year and a half in crypto. But on StarkNet, we are kind of veterans. So we've been on StarkNet from the very early days when there are only like a handful of teams that worked on StarkNet, not like the flourishing ecosystem that we have today. And actually, just to give maybe a bit of context, Braavos is the second protocol that we've launched on StarkNet. The first one was kind of more, I call it a school project for us in order to be familiar with StarkNet, with the ecosystem, with the Cairo programming language, which is the main and only language that we can write on StarkNet. And the first project that we have developed and deployed is called MySwap. It's the first DeFi app to launch on testnet earlier this year, and also on mainnet like a month and a half ago. And it's a classic DEX AMM a la Uniswap v2, which is quite nice and popular. So if we have listeners who want to try and transact with real funds on StarkNet mainnet, they are certainly welcome. And Braavos is a project that we started working after we launched MySwap on testnet, under the assumption or under the understanding that what we want to settle on StarkNet, and we want to build on StarkNet, and StarkNet provides opportunities for us to do things that we cannot do on other networks, certainly not on the base layer Ethereum, and that's to do a smart contract-based wallet, which is both economically viable and very feature-rich. So this is the goal of Braavos, to bring the mass market into crypto, and to give them what we call a Web2 kind of experience without the hurdles that we have today in crypto, and we can go into that. So Braavos is currently available on all major browsers as an extension, and it's also the first mobile wallet on StarkNet. Currently, it's the only mobile wallet on StarkNet, and if you are using mobile, that's a very good way to access all the dApps that are on StarkNet through Braavos Mobile. And it's gaining momentum every day and every week. So
nice.
That's the background.
Yeah, super I wasn't aware that you guys are behind MySwap. When did you start developing Braavos? Was it a year ago?
No, it's actually you know, we had the luxury of taking the time and examining the entire crypto ecosystem. As I said, we are latecomers, so we had a lot of you know, a lot of homework to do, a lot of study to do, in order to understand what really is crypto, what's the benefits, the advantages, disadvantages for the different L1s, what are the advantages and disadvantages for the different L2s, and only when we realize that we have set our eyes to build on StarkNet. And MySwap was indeed the first protocol that we've built and deployed in January this year. And on Braavos, we started working 6 months ago. So actually,
right.
exactly 6 months to today. And in these 6 months, I think we have managed to bring to the StarkNet ecosystem some new things that did not exist before we came into before we launched the wallet live. If it is supports for multiple browsers, that the users can use their favorite browser in order to access the dApps that they want to interact with. If it's NFT support built in inside the wallet, 3D NFTs, video, music NFTs. If it's mobile, as I said, mobile wallet solution to access StarkNet natively from Android or iOS, built-in swap mechanism. So that's what we have been doing in the past 6 months.
Nice. And out of interest, how big is the team at the moment? What does the team look like?
So we are lean and mean, like in the cliche. Well, hopefully we are not mean, but we are kind of lean team. So we are 6 people. Okay. That you know, both highly technical, but with I call it like a all-around players kind of people.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty impressive that you've managed to spin up Braavos and support all of these devices in 6 months. It's good work on your behalf.
Thank you. The compliment is to the great team.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. So what do your sort of users look like today? How many users do you have on Braavos, and what's the sort of like the makeup between sort of Chrome, Firefox, and you said you have an iPhone app and an Android app. What does that look like today?
Yeah, so the browser extension was launched end of April, so it has much more time on the road. So Braavos has today like a couple of tens of thousands of daily active users, and most of them on the browser, since it has more mileage, and most of them naturally on Chrome. We do have quite a few Firefox users, but no doubt, you know, like in the general space, most users are using Chrome, and we do see a very nice momentum on the mobile app that offers a very nice experience, and we see each day that goes by more and more downloads and more users that try out and return to use StarkNet through Braavos Mobile.
And you said around 10,000 users, active users. What do you define as active, out of interest?
People that interact with either with the wallet itself or with the network.
Right. So if they do any action at all, if they sign, send, receive, they're an active user.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Exactly, because when we have networks in the very beginning phase, there are people that just come to try it out, and then they leave it aside for weeks and for months, which is cool, which is nice, right? But I think that as we want a very flourishing ecosystem, all of us, all the projects on StarkNet, we want to see that people that come regularly and not just to taste and continue to the next chain or to the next protocol.
Sure. We want sort of consistent engagement within the StarkNet ecosystem, whether that be someone buying NFTs, playing with DeFi, depositing to their account, etc.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So, I mean, are there any interesting sort of behaviors or insights that you see with your current users? Is there any sort of any particular region perhaps that you've noticed that the or time zone that the transactions happen?
Yeah, so I would say that we as an ideological decision, we do not have analytics on the wallet. So the wallet itself does not communicate data out to any external server, which to prevent even the slightest chance to have any security breach. It's it's not a fun fact, but we also saw what happened to the wallet on Solana like 2-3 weeks ago from innocent logs that were sent to a remote server. So we want to be extra safe and extra secure here. So on the wallet itself, we have less concrete information. We have the information that we have from the stores, and combining the information that we see on MySwap, I can say that funny enough, there are cohort of users from various states, but it changed over time. So there is a big Turkish community, there's a big Russian community, there's a big community from US. There is a big community from China that comes and goes. So as you can see, it's kind of spread all over. And we also see pockets of cohorts of users from Australia and from Latin America, but and certainly from Central Europe, France, Switzerland. But right. the top ones are the ones I mentioned at the beginning.
Right, yeah. So it's Turkey and Russia, some Chinese
and US, and US. Yeah.
Nice. No, so it's always interesting because it's kind of commonly recognized and acknowledged that Asia and US have the largest sort of presence for crypto, but StarkNet being quite European centric almost, or a larger sort of microphone or megaphone in Europe. So it's interesting to see how the composition of the users in StarkNet are sort of tallying up.
I think that certainly in terms of developers, there is a very large hub in Europe, I think mainly in France. Also in Tel Aviv, there is a growing hub of users.
Yes.
But as we see, the end users come from all over. So from US to China, to Russia, Turkey, and so forth.
Absolutely. Just moving on to a bit more StarkNet focused part of the conversation. I mean, you guys obviously launched your wallet on StarkNet and the DEX. Is there anything that StarkNet has that really excites you? What brought you to StarkNet itself, and maybe particularly any features of StarkNet that you think will be useful and a step change for? a mass adoption?
So I think that the technology is very exciting, and it really solves like a critical problem that maybe now in the midst of what is called a bear market, we feel it less, but most certainly in the next bull market we will feel it full force, even much more than what it was in 2021, and that's the ability of Ethereum to scale. So if to zoom out a bit, as I said, we had a luxury of investing a few good months in studying the crypto space and the different L1s, and we decided to settle on Ethereum out of the understanding that Ethereum reach and Ethereum maturity and Ethereum network effect makes it, and of course Ethereum values makes it a prominent candidate to be the most important L1 blockchain in the future. It certainly is now today, but also in the future. But Ethereum, as we all know, emphasize security and decentralization, as it should, but it sacrifices scalability. And for scalability, we go for rollups. And in rollups, we have the optimistic rollup solutions, and we have the ZK rollups or validity rollup solutions. And for us, when we examine both of these technologies, then there was no doubt that validity rollups is the right solution going forward for the long term. And Starkware with StarkNet had at the time and still have the most promising and battle-tested technology. Not sure that all the listeners know, but before Starkware launched StarkNet, which is a composable rollup on top of Ethereum, they've launched the StarkX solution, which uses the same basic technology that secures billions of dollars of transactions. So for us, it was pretty clear that this is the superior technology. We frankly speaking, we were concerned about the fact that the chain is not EVM compatible, let alone EVM equivalent. And there is a new programming language here that was invented for StarkNet, which is Cairo. So that was maybe our main concern when going all into StarkNet.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a new design space, and with that, it's going to have its sort of challenges, and in its infancy. I mean, Đorđe, just bringing you into the conversation. I mean, what's your kind of thoughts on the state of StarkNet / Cairo tooling today? Like, what do you think is missing? How have you been, as we've worked on Nostra?
In general, Cairo and StarkNet are really early in terms of tooling. There is many different tools that you can use if you are a Solidity developer that simply doesn't exist if you are a Cairo dev, and things are getting better. But still, for example, if you are a developer writing the code and tests every day, you suffer a lot by tests execution time and very basic stuff like that, and not to mention some advanced testing where you might want to formally verify some mathematical things in your contracts. This is almost impossible right now. There are some tools showing up, and we are following it very actively, and we plan to use all of these tools, but at this point most of them are not mature enough.
If maybe I can add on top of that, and I think that one of the biggest challenges of writing Cairo, certainly in the in the very early days, it was that besides the fact that the language is new and it misses basic functionality that exists in mature languages. It was also very hard, as Giorgio said, to debug your code and to get from the error message to get to the actual problem. It was like real reverse engineering of both the error message and the code to understand what's going on. But for me, the encouraging thing is that I see where the network, the language, the entire ecosystem was like only 9-10 months ago, and I see where things are today, and there is like a tremendous improvement that is accelerating, both in terms of the teams that come on board, the Cairo language, the libraries that the ecosystem creates, the various tools in order to communicate with the network, to analyze transactions, different languages, SDK, and so forth. So no doubt there is still a lot of work to do, but I think that what's encouraging is that the vector of progress is on the right direction and in the right speed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see that every week or so there's some community or some entity that's releasing some improvements. Whether it's new libraries or another adapter or some sort that you see on the news feed. So
yes.
yeah, absolutely. I've seen that in real time as well.
Yeah, and the more teams, the more talented developers that will come on the network and will continue to come to the network, the better and more flourishing network we will get.
Yeah. In terms of account abstraction has been kind of quite a popular thing that the StarkNet community and other projects have really sort of clung on to, and I just wanted to get your thoughts, Motty, on account abstraction and the things that perhaps might excite you about the potentials of it.
So I think that account abstraction and smart contract-based wallets in general are kind of the most underestimated things in crypto. I think that the value that account abstraction can bring to the space in terms of better security and in tandem with that, much better UX is going to be really a revolution to the space. And if you will follow Braavos, we in the next few short weeks, we are going to release quite a few, I would say, smart contract-based native feature that will enhance both the wallet security without any additional hardware requirements, dongles, ledgers, etc. And the UX itself, where not every simple touch and simple mistake that the user can make will cost them their funds. I think that's what keeps many users today away from crypto, and even if they are in crypto, they use centralized solution such as Coinbase and Kraken, and unfortunately up until lately also Celsius and the like. And our goal is to make the decentralized, the self-custodial solution as easy to use as what people get from centralized solution without sacrificing decentralization. And account abstraction really enables us to do that. So it enables us to do things like a native two-factor authentication, and it enables us to do account segmentation, and it gives us a wide design space. The fact that we have an manifestation of the user account on chain to make the experience much more secure and much more smooth, much more as users are used to from the Web 2 interactions on the internet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think, you know, that's definitely been a major sort of problem to be solved, and perhaps a mental block for more users to trust DeFi and crypto in general. You know, it's a bit of a huge responsibility being your own custody, or having your own assets in your own custody, versus, you know, as we all used to you know, keeping our assets in a bank. And I think having the ability to you know, abstract this away from the user, but also in a secure way where it's still self-custodial is another step change in the features that we can offer in the decentralization world.
Exactly, and that's exactly, you touched on the point. We want to remove that burden from the user's shoulders and use technology in order to give the same experience with the same security or better security, but completely self-custodial and decentralized.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, same goes with, like, you know, what we're building at Nostra, you know, a money market for people to lend and borrow. So without the need of any intermediary, you know, bank, and you know, there being sort of a large spread or a large margin or rehypothecation where we don't even know what's being done on the back end, and if your assets are safe or not. You know, completely decentralized and open, which is kind of the future that we're building towards.
Yeah, very cool. By the way, what's your plan in Nostra when it's about to go live?
Oh, we haven't announced that yet, but, you know, we're working hard in the background, and we have an audit also scheduled in. So we're working on a few things to work on the sequencing. Obviously, as you know, there's a big upgrade of StarkNet happening, the regenesis. So yeah, we are trying to make it as aligned as possible to the various events, but we also want to make sure that it's safe. We don't want to go out there without a fully audited protocol to make sure that, you know, people can deposit their money and we're absolutely, you know, sound. So yeah, watch this space is the short answer.
So no doubt, we'll stay tuned and see when you guys hit live.
For sure. Okay, just going to wrap this up very quickly. I mean, just Đorđe, if on your side, you've kind of been knee deep in Cairo. If there's one thing that you could change about Cairo, what would it be?
It's I will not dig too much deep to language itself, but let's say one big thing what would be very nice is more open to, like, community, or let's say developers who are using Cairo. They should be more open to their feedback or their like contributions. Complete sources are closed except some parts, but even these parts which are open source, it's hard to actually contribute. For example, you have a need to write a function that does calculate some specific thing which hundreds or thousands of developers will need. Instead of writing a function in your code, you could basically open up a pull request and like implement it in the core library, which can be then reused by all the people building on top of Cairo. That's one small example, but in general, language would probably evolve faster if the feedback or contributions are public. That's from my experience as a previous compiler dev. So I worked on developing Solidity before starting Tempus. So that's my 2 cents on this.
Thanks, Motty. What's the one thing you would change?
Well, I'm not sure if I would say change, because I know that there is an ongoing work that that is happening and will hopefully mature in the next couple of months, and that's the move to Cairo 1.0, which will you know, make it much easier, both in terms of syntax and in terms of capabilities, such as proving rejected transactions. And I think, you know, that every network at the beginning has its training wheels, right? And there is also always a subtle balance between running fast and running completely open source and decentralized. I know from the StarkNet, the Starkware team, that they have all the intentions to completely decentralize the system. But what I'm looking for is to get a much higher throughput from the network, which you know, most certainly this is something that the teams are working hard on that for the past few months, and we should see that in version 0.10.1, which should be released in the next 2-3 weeks. So hopefully we will get you know, the TPS that we are looking for. The target is 1 order of magnitude more than the base chain, with 2 orders of magnitude lower fees. And I think when we hit that milestone, when the network will hit that milestone, then this will be great to the entire StarkNet ecosystem.
Yeah, yeah, couldn't agree more. Definitely looking forward to a higher throughput.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I think we're sort of at time. I'd like to keep these around the half-an-hour mark, and I think there's also a StarkNet community call as well that's going on. So, Motty, I'd just like to say a huge thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Same here. It was my pleasure, and I'm looking forward to see you guys go live.
Absolutely. Soon TM is the word. And if anybody wants to follow the Braavos team or the Braavos project, it's at mybraavos on Twitter. So there we go.
Yep.
Do it. Thank you, Đorđe, for
Yep.
your contribution, sir. I'm sure your suggestions will be listened and implemented by the Starkware team.
Excellent.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
All right. Until next time.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye, GM.